It's a sad day today, winterizing. We're going to attempt to, for the first time, winterize our little wildwood here. So that's the official end of the season for us. Hi. So I think we have everything we need, but I don't know. Honey, do you want to tell us what we're looking at on this table here?
Well, it's a pink lemonade stand. No, just kidding. It's actually RV Antifreeze and a little kit to hook it up to the water pump so we can pump it through our system and get it ready for winter by making sure there's no water in the water system. So we have 3 gallons of pink RV antifreeze, and we have a kit here. Simple, bought it off Amazon for I think $10.
And got some pliers.
Got some pliers, got a valve to flip it from through the pump and into bypass. And we're gonna hook all this up. We're gonna make it happen with the sunshine.
I'm gonna try. Other stuff we have too, paper towels because we're messy, and gloves because we're probably dealing with some liquids we don't want on our hands. So we're gonna add that as well. So a list of things you should add.
All right,
here we go.
So we'll see you on the other side. Okay, so we're gonna make sure all the water's flushed out of the insides there. Make sure you turn on the faucets, flush the toilet, make sure that you have no water in your freshwater tank, and that you flushed out everything out of all the faucets and the drains. Once you've done that, come over here. We're gonna drain the low point drains, but first I'm gonna make sure there's nothing coming out of the black or gray water tanks. Last time I used it about 2 weeks ago, I flushed it really good at the campground and made sure it was empty, but it's just been sitting here, so I'm gonna see what comes out. So hopefully it fits in this bucket. Well, black first. Got to open the valve, nice and slow. Let's see what we get out of the black water. Pull the gray water. So it looks like I got maybe 2 cups at the most. I'm gonna let them drain there for a little bit.
It's a little stinky. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't
Well,
smell. It's not that bad.
Did my best to get the camper level. Our driveway's a little bit tipped toward the tongue, so I got it jacked up fairly well, but it's not perfectly level. I wish it was, but I didn't want to put too much pressure on it, so I think this would be good to drain it tapered towards this area anyhow, so it's gonna run out that way. After this drains out, I'm gonna move over to these low point drains. These are the feed lines, and they have low point drains here, so we're going to take these caps off and make sure that they flush out anything that might be sitting in them, and we'll get ready to set the pump up after that.
Can always have a hit.
Okay. So I've closed up the valves for the drains on the black water, gray water, put the cap back on. It drained out for a few minutes. It's very emptied out now, so nothing left in there. I'm gonna go ahead and drain the low point drains. I actually don't mess with these a lot. Generally, I just leave it go all summer, but at the end of the year, you gotta pull these caps off and make sure you've got them empty. Oh, please don't hit me like a fire hose. You gotta make sure you get both of them, right? You got the blue, you got the red.
Okay, so finally empty that blue bucket. It's about 2 of those, so it's 6 gallons of water that we got total out of everything, which is just shocking to me, honestly. So, what's next?
Put the caps back on.
Okay.
Just gonna make sure we're fully empty. Caps back on, and do not over tighten them. People tend to over tighten plastic and it always cracks or it just leaks from stretching it out and just making it swell. These are meant to be just snugged down. Put them both on, tighten them up a little. Again, not too snug. Done. Valves are closed, caps on, we're drained. Onto the hot water heater. All right, so we're gonna make sure we drain out the water heater. We're gonna pull the element out of the center. What's it called? Anode rod. We're gonna pull the anode rod out, leave it empty for the winter. And then there's bypass valves underneath the hatch in here. We're gonna flip them for the winter setting so we bypass it and none of the pink stuff goes in here. 1 1/16. That's the size of the socket. Put it on here. Crack it loose. Anode rod. This thing's 5 years old. Going into this season, into its 5th season, I put a brand new one of these in. The other one was shriveled down to just a stick. So make sure you check these. I'd say every year when you're pulling it out. Just if you need a new one, they're cheap. Bought them on Amazon. A couple, I think 2 of them for 11 bucks or whatever it was, but it wasn't much. So I'll just set this to the side here. That can hang out there for the winter. Just gonna pull the over pressure valve here, make sure no water comes out. I think we're golden. Done inside the hatch. Fight with this, get it closed. Done. Sorry. Thank you, my dear. Inside here there is a floor for me to set stuff on, but it pops out real easy. They just got 2 panels sitting in here. I'm gonna pick them out of there because that's where the hot water heater is down inside. So if you're like me and you do this every year and you're inside these panels, when you start up in the spring, you forget which way the valves need to be and all that. So I have my little cheat sheet here like a 2nd grader where I wrote the way the valves need to be turned for the winter or the summer right inside the panel so I can just flip them the other way, beginning and end of season. So for the winter, we want to make sure we are pointing down here. You're pointing up here. Yeah. That's the after. So afterwards, you got the red pointing down, you got the blue pointing up. When they're closed, that's the position. When they're open, you flip them lengthwise this way to let the water flow through. So in the winter, they're closed as such, and in the summer, I open them both opposite like that. I can't reach that one with the camera in the way, but you get the idea. Bypassed for the winter. Now I'm just going to put the floor back in. we go inside, we're gonna take the access cover off, get to the water pump.
Okay, so now for the part that I've been dreading this whole time. We're actually gonna play with the water pump. So you notice I have a headlamp on so I can see what I'm doing without having to hold a flashlight. I also have the screwdriver. Keep the screwdriver in the camper all the time with Ziploc baggie. Put extra screws in here, whatever else you need, because you just never know. Alright, here we go. Undo the screws to the panel. I've done this too many times. This is actually our second water pump in this camper. First one, and we thought we had all kinds of problems, but it's just a water pump, which is a cheap, easy fix. So we'll remove the panel, and in we go. Okay, light on, and say a prayer. Oh, there's no graceful way to do this, but what we're trying to do here, unhook our hose from our water pump. This is the in. Not been tied in yet. Go me. Let's try this with my other hand. There we go. Detached. Next. What's next?
Bypass connection.
Bypass connection. Let's see. Somehow I'm going to tighten this on here. Mr. Calloway has a sense of humor and he said don't over tighten it. Haha. As long as I don't cross thread it, I'll be happy. I got wimpy little girl hands. Okay. There's that. And then there's a hose. This guy here. When it comes from Amazon or wherever you get it, it is wound up very, very tight. So I've been sitting here playing with it to try to loosen up the coil of it so it's not like a spring. But as you can see, it's still wound up pretty snugly. So we are attached. Okay. Now what?
We do a test to make sure we have suction on that hose. Just put your finger over the end of the hose. And
Oh God. He's going to turn the pump on. We're going to see if this actually has suction.
Ready?
Go ahead.
It's coming on.
No.
Finger?
No suction. Do I have to turn this valve?
Oh yeah, you do.
Ah! Turn the valve. That sounds means something's happening. Okay.
Not gonna run it for long, wet or dry. Sorry.
Yeah, let's not run it forever. Like Mike just said, if you couldn't hear him. Now I'm gonna make a mess. Oh, we left the paper towels outside. And I have no way to pierce the seal on this antifreeze bottle. And I don't want to break a nail.
Here.
Ah, perfect. Okay. Let's see here. Get this hose out of there. I'll give you a view of what we're doing. Got me dropping the camera. Hose in. It's Antifreeze.
Put it in as deep inside that jug. It's got to get to the bottom of it.
Well, that's not going to happen. The hose isn't long
Yeah,
enough.
put the hose, the jug inside that cabinet.
Oh, fudge. Please hold. Okay, so we had to do a little modification here. We had to tighten, hey, look, we're to pressure. had to tighten this guy down here with, yeah, you see that, a zip tie and some more Marvin tape or whatever the hell. It was not sucking how it was supposed to, but it is now, and we are to pressure. Thank God. I'm afraid to jinx it, but I think I'm really hoping that this freaking works. Ta-da! Got a sink in the bathroom. We got our shower. Oh, we got about 2 inches of stuff left in the jug. So what do we have left to do?
Nothing.
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 We're going to turn the water pump off, or what?
Well, water pump, I will turn it off. Then I will open one faucet to get a little bit of the air pressure off so you don't get sprayed with pink when you...
He's so thoughtful.
Now we can disconnect that connector.
Okay, so that was fun, or something. So, jug out, got a towel. I know we didn't have that on our, Mike didn't have that on our beautiful table setup that he did, but I always have a towel. So, we got that. Now, supposedly there's some kind of do-what-ye valve thing here. I gotta do something with. I know it's there. I remember it's there. I don't know where the hell it's at. Oh, there it is. Alright, valve off. Now we're going to see a big old mess, I'm sure. Somehow, I've got to... I don't know if you can see this or not. Let's try that. Get a little better angle. Oh, geez. I don't know that I have the strength to do this. Also, I don't know how to loosen things, let's face it. Well, I might be screwed. Please hold. Right. Not that.
Huh?
Oh, take the hose off first. You're smart.
Okay.
This is why we're a team, so I have no brain cells. Oh, look at that. Alright. Okay, there's that thing. There's this thing. Brass thing, whatever the hell this thing is. It's a bypass valve. But what? Oh, and go off the trailer. This, honey,
Talk to me.
the black plastic thing
Yeah.
is still on there. I
Right.
can't get it.
Can you get it off?
No. Remember, boys and girls, don't over tighten things. Woohoo! Off. Okay. Now, we reattach without cross threading. This is so next spring when we get to our first campsite and I'm all excited and I turn on the water pump, it works instead of me cursing the gods and wondering why the hell we camp. Alright. And we're tight. And somehow we didn't make that much of a mess. Okay. That was something. So, we have to put the panel back on. Good night for now. Baggy with the screws. That way they didn't go rolling all over the place and we're wondering where the screws went, or like, you know, we didn't step on one or kneel on one or any of that, because it's you know, we already had enough fun with this, and I don't think an injury would add to our enjoyment. Tighten them up. Okay, on to the next.
So what did we learn? We learned that our RV holds almost 2 gallons of RV antifreeze when we do the flush out and prep for winter. We also learned, don't buy the cheapest kit for connecting the water pump into a jug from Amazon. No rubber seal in the fitting, had to make my own, took some Teflon tape, scissored it back and forth and spun it up like a rope, wrap it around, she tucked it in with a screwdriver, didn't overpack it in and just let it tighten up on the fitting. That's finally did seal it, do the trick, but yeah, next time, spend the money, get the nicer one. In fact, maybe get a permanent kit that you can just leave on. We chose to take this one off because it's not trustworthy. So we hooked our connection back up, so in the spring, feed some water in, turn it on, we're good to go. I did check the low point drain, make sure I get a little bit of pink coming out of that cap on the blue side. And I did, just loosened it up, a little bit of pink dripping, closed it back up. I pulled the gray lever a little bit for the gray tank just to make sure a little bit of pink came out of the end of that. So I know that whatever's sitting in there is treated as well. And that's a wrap for 2024 season.
Wow, he went way more in depth than I thought he was going to. Now I have to ask, was it worth doing it ourselves as compared to taking it somewhere?
Oh, sure, absolutely. There's no reason to take it anywhere. We did for many years, and now I said, why pay someone? I have to learn to take care of this thing myself.
Well, I pay someone, and honestly, every time we took it somewhere, they would just trash it. We'd get that thing back. We had stuff broken, mud tromped through everywhere. That antifreeze, they weren't using a towel to clean up after. It was everywhere. Yeah, so.
One thing I would mention, if you don't want your stains on your bathtubs or your showers, when you're done with this, go in there with a towel and wipe that pink stuff off there. It just, you know, it won't stain it permanently, but you will see it dried on there. I prefer to just take a towel in there and dry that up, and that's what we're gonna do. So
that's what I'm gonna do, probably.
that's what she's gonna do.
I just got a to-do list. That's okay.
In the spring, it's all in the reverse, right? We're gonna fill the freshwater tank. We're gonna fire the pump up. We're gonna start running some water, open the drains and do a flush out, get all the pink out of there and everything, and we'll be set for the season. Just don't forget to put your anode rod back in your water tank, flip those bypass valves back opposite that you have them for the winter, and you're ready to go. Thanks everybody. Have a great winter. We'll see you in the spring. Back in more adventures with Caitlin and Mike.
Camp Calla Wallet, here we come.
Take care.